guys, welcome back to SFeatleyTV, and we're here for another show of F1 Legends. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button. I've got a Monday in the background. How are you, mate?
I'm good, man. How you doing, sir?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'm still trying to work out how this thing works, but I'm gradually getting there.
I like the new graphics. Looks brilliant. Proper
Yeah.
professional.
Just
Oh
yeah,
wow.
it's not bad. It's I'm sure Talk's gonna give me some. Make it look like a ITV news studio or something in the background. You know how he is, man. He's a perfectionist, but
It's fitting of your show. You've been delivering top shows, so
yeah, man. I've been wanting to do this for a while, so we've got this working. If it gets darker, it might end up like fucking up, but at least
and
it's working for
you've
now.
even slicked your hair back today. No more of this roller coaster ride, wild hairstyle. Yeah,
No.
oh, here we go. Oh, we're back to normal.
That's because I'm always like stressed out, man, trying to like, get research, get shows done. But yeah, we move.
Yes.
Right. So if you're not aware, big up by the way, Chris Paul as a member. Became a member about a day or two ago. Make sure you do the same. Hit the join button as well. From as little as $1.99, right? And 80% of your money goes to charity. The 20% helps helps the channel, helps with the better content, so we can get more views and get more money for charity as well. So we can end up doing things like this as well to make it all better for you guys. But don't know why I've got Cronky's thing in the background, but there you go. We changed that. But anyway, no worries on Monday. But we're gonna go into about a new a driver that I feel has been overlooked many times. Nelson Piquet. I think he's overshadowed by obviously the great Ayrton Senna, who came in at the same time. He's a Brazilian, 3-time world champion.
Yeah.
He won, I think, for Brabham, Williams, both times Williams. Sorry. So yeah, those 2 times is where he won it. I think 2 of his championships came with Brabham, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it did, because he won in 81, 83, 87, and he was with Brabham from 1978 to 85, from Williams to 1986 to 87. But originally born in Rio de Janeiro, so big up anyone that's from Rio, big up. We got, born in 17th of August 1952. And in short, I'll just give you some of the stats that he's produced. His first entry was at the German Grand Prix in 1978.
Yeah.
His first win was in 1980 United States Grand Prix. His last win was the Canadian Grand Prix in 1991. His last entry was the actual 1991 Australian Grand Prix, the last race of the season. And this is his F1 stats. And entries, 207 entries with 204 starts, 3 world championships, 23 wins, 60 podiums, career points of 481.5. Pole positions of 24, fastest laps of 23. And then he's got a Le Mans career where he competed from 96 to 97. Best finish was 8th in 1996, but he didn't actually win that class. So let's get to some of the comments. Atomic Puppet, Vettel. Yeah, of course, Atomic, you believe Phil Jones is better than the whole, like, every single defender on the planet. So of course you're going to say something like Vettel's better than Hamilton, right? Because we all know it's complete bollocks. Sorry, man, it's BS. That's BS, man. You're not going to trigger me over that, because we all know the truth. So
That's why they put Vettel in a lowercase v.
Oh yeah. By the way, as well, I did wanted to put this background just to not be neutral, but since we're going to be like that, fuck it. Right, just to rub it in. Like, I think everyone knows what picture that's from, right? Which Grand Prix that one's from.
Silverstone.
Right? Yeah, I think a certain Red
Which
Bull
one
went into
would be number one? Which year would that be?
There was a certain incident in that Grand Prix at turn 9. I don't know what it was, but as far as I knew, it's called a racing incident as part of racing. But some people want to believe that Hamilton tried to kill him. Oh my God. Right. Yeah. Right. And then call him a gremlin and God knows what else after. So, yeah, we don't discriminate. Yeah, they say they don't discriminate. But anyway, we move. All I can say is keep crying. But yeah, Piquet started kart racing at 14, which compared to modern day standards is it's quite old.
Yeah.
Because like you've had Sebastian Vettel getting a kart at about 4 years old. Sorry.
When did
So,
Hamilton start go
about 7 or 8, something like that. No, I ain't deleting the background. You're all right, mate. Right. If you actually think Atomic, if you think actually he tried to kill him, then you know absolutely nothing about F1, right? And motor racing. It's racing, right? That's why these cars are built so safe the way they are. Because you get, I'm gonna say this for the last time, when you get two drivers going into a corner like that, not backing in, you are going to have an accident. Simple. If you can't accept that, don't watch it. Because you can't stand, obviously, people getting hit into a wall. It's part of, unfortunately, that's the whole point. That's why it says motor racing is dangerous on the back of every ticket. And before anyone says it, if it was the other way around, I would not say Max Verstappen tried to kill him. It's not deliberate.
Yeah. Good
right?
shot.
Jesus Christ. I'm not, that's the last time I'm saying of it. Anyone that keeps moaning about it, right? Listen to what your Max Verstappen said in the press conference on Saturday after qualifying, when they tried to bring it up again and again and again, the media trying to stir it. Do you know what he said? Done. We're done. It's race. We're racers. We move on. Maybe you as fans need to do the same, right? You tried your review. It didn't work. So
Right, moving on.
Right? But yeah, he came to Brabham in 1978. He qualified 14th and finished 11th, I believe, in his for his last race. This was he moved from there. Yeah, 1979 was his first full season in Formula One. So again, he was alongside double world champion Niki Lauda. So he must have been in that fan car that they had.
Yeah.
Which was quite revolutionary in its design, but kind of like very unreliable in its design. I can't remember. I might have to do that as a Formula One's greatest formula to see what made it so special, because it's kind of weird how they made that special. It didn't win any championships, by the way, but he started off a season being involved in the first lap pile-up as usual, a bit like Mazepin. Crashing into Ray Legazoni's Williams car at the Brazilian Grand Prix as well. Yeah, he didn't really have the best of starts to his season, to his career. But that's kind of what every driver goes through. They go through that sort of period where they're going to have accidents. You know what I mean? They're always going to have that period where they have to learn their trade, and some drivers get, no matter who drivers you are. Even Hamilton is a 7-time world champion. In 2011, no matter what he was doing, he was ending up in an accident. No matter whatever he tried, whatever like move he tried to make, he was ending up in an accident or some sort of collision.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that. You have those drivers that need to go. All drivers need to have that cycle where they have to go through. I think 2018, Max Verstappen had the same thing. He went into Vettel, he went into Hamilton, he went into Kimi Raikkonen, I think, at one point as well. And they just need that sort of where they need to learn when to be aggressive.
For sure.
Because it's all right sometimes in the lower formulas getting away with it, but in F1, when you're at that top level, there's just going to be drivers that say, no, I'm not letting you get away with that.
Yeah.
I'm defending I know my line, I'm defending it. So big up to Stephen, and great show as always. Big up. I could be Yeah, and I could fly to the moon. I love the green screen, mate. How'd you do? Simple. Green screen, put up, bit of lighting, drop a picture in the background, and use OBS as well. So a bit of OBS as well always helps. But yeah, as I was saying, he got to 1981 again, just gradually. This was his first. I think it's his first race championship this season. 81. Where this season began as revocation of the South African Grand Prix status. Grand Prix status is as a FIA sanctioned event due to the ongoing FISA versus FOCA war, with the FISA teams boycotting the race. So teams were basically sort of boycotting the race over certain conditions that they didn't agree with. I'd have to look further into that, to be honest. FOCA staged a non-championship race there in South Africa, held in wet conditions, which was won by Reutemann with Piquet second. Both both of those organisations reached an agreement banning movable skirts and requiring minimal ground clearance, including the tyres of 6 centimeters. Oh, it's about like certain. I remember it now because it's all about like the skirts and like how much ground effect they're allowed to use, because of safety. So. After third place in the United States Grand Prix, Piquet qualified pole position for the Brazilian Grand Prix in his birth city of Rio de Janeiro. This is before they moved to Interlagos, but quickly faded from contention after starting the race on slick tyres on a soaking wet track. At the next race, the Argentine in Buenos Aires, Brabham got around the ground clearance rule by devising a suspension system that kept the car at the required rate due to technical inspection, but lowered it onto the ground at speed, allowing it to race once again as a wing car. The superiority of the car, which was such that that Piquet easily swept to victory, and his Mexican teammate Hector Rebec, I can't remember I can't spell that name. Who usually would sail in the rear, managed to retain second place. So the Brabham managed to find. This is the great thing about F1 is that you find loopholes, and their loophole was we're gonna take away the basically their solution was we're going to build a suspension system, which meant the car stayed at a specific weight when it was being inspected. But then when they wanted to race with it, it then lowered to because the lower you are to the ground, the more the air channels faster underneath, the more downforce you create. So they want it. That's why cars are like as low as possible, as well as being more like streamlined.
Okay.
So they managed to build a suspension system where they could lower it during a race, so they can gain so much more of an advantage. What?
Obviously, it was all legal then.
Well, yeah, it wasn't like ruled. It wasn't like saying you can't do this during a race in the rule book. So, it proved its worth because in the end, he managed to get himself all the way to win it. It helped him win his first title with Brabham in 1981.
Yeah.
So
is that one of the quickest? So he started in 78 and he won his first title in 81.
Yeah.
So that's quite a quick turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you look at it, it's 1978, 52 would have been 26. So quite, it's right sort of.
About 2 years into F1, he's 3 years into F1.
3 years into 2 years really, because like the first the first season, 1978, he only spent about 3 races in it, 3, 4, or 5 races.
Oh,
so,
right.
because he was just being swapped in. So,
I see.
yeah, but 1982, Brabham entered into alliance with BMW to supply the team with turbocharged engines, because there was this like difference between, you had certain cars on the grid that were normally aspirated and certain cars on the grid that had turbocharged engines. So it was a sort of mix-up at the time. Aside from the first Grand Prix in South Africa, Brabham started the season using the Ford Cosworth engine BT49D. Piquet won the Brazilian Grand Prix in the Rio de Janeiro. The extreme heat and immense adhesion of the cars meant that Piquet and other drivers suffered exhaustion. This is before they made themselves like to be the super fit drivers we see now.
Right.
They didn't really know that they'd have to be so fit and uh, such a fit athlete. Piquet fainted while collecting his trophy on the podium. Piquet was later disqualified for his car being underweight from a protest from Renault and Ferrari. Piquet did not drive the new engine by BMW until Belgium, and the low point of the season was Detroit, where he failed to qualify due to an engine failure in qualifying. The ruling of Piquet's disqualification led to a political attack on the lower minimum weight against Ferrari and Renault, who used turbocharged engines. Ferrari's changes to the rear wing at the United States Grand Prix and the disqualification of Jules Villeneuve after the race caused Fokker to boycott the San Marino Grand Prix. So this is why F1 is such a political mind game.
Politics. Yeah.
It's political mind game. Like, it's always been a political mind game. Like,
Nothing
Ferrari,
changes.
yeah.
40 years ago, they were still at it.
Well, you see it. I mean, you see it now today. Like, you saw it. You saw it after the British Grand Prix with Red Bull.
Yeah.
Right, which is fair enough. 10-second penalty, fine. If you want to give that, fine. I say it's a racing incident, and if I've always said that if they're both to blame, you can't put one penalty on another and one on the other one get away scot-free apart from a damaged car.
Sure.
Right, but that's their ruling. But you saw the next Grand Prix, the Hungarian Grand Prix. What am I listening to on Thursday when I'm like chilling for having infusion? I'm listening to Red Bull, right, saying, "Oh, we want a review." What review? And what happened is they spent 2 weeks spending. They didn't find any evidence from the crash itself. What they did is they conjured up evidence, right, using their simulator for 2 weeks, paying 100 grand to use Albon in their simulator to simulate the accident, to prove that it's all Hamilton's fault.
Yeah, but Hamilton's already been penalised, isn't he?
Yeah, but they wanted a harsher penalty on him.
What's the limit? What sort of penalty would?
Well, they add another 10 seconds, which means he would have dropped to third.
Okay.
So he takes away 10 points.
Okay.
And if you have enough evidence to support that, you can submit it to a review, right? But the FIA went and just got, "Oh, shut up, get out of here." I mean, it's stupid. And at the same time, you tarnish Hamilton as a bad driver at the same time. It's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. So that's the whole point. And you've seen it from the 80s, the 30s, the 60s, even when the drivers would boycott races for safety reasons.
Yeah.
It's always been a political mind game, F1. Like, because everyone's just so desired to win. So Piquet, anyway, his next winning championship was 1983. Piquet won in 1983. Piquet won the opening race in Brazil with the arrow-shaped BT-52, and followed up with a retirement in the United States West Grand Prix. He scored a second place in France, took another second in Monaco, all taking fastest lap. He was 14 points behind Alain Prost with 3 races left, but took back-to-back victories in Monza and Brands Hatch to close, winning 2 points at the season ending South African Grand Prix. Prost retired on lap 35,
Yes.
and Piquet cruised to third place
Yes.
to win his
I
second
know
world
this.
title. It also was the first time the turbocharged car won the championship and was BMW's first and only championship in Formula One,
Wow.
despite then going to Williams in the late 2000s, in the early 2000s, sorry. So over the turn of the century, they made at the turn of the century, Williams made a deal to be engine supplied by
Yeah.
BMW, and
This was 1984 was televised. I remember that season with Nelson Piquet. It
well,
was
yeah, because
televised in the UK.
I think after
It was,
'76, you all had to have it. They made a deal like that because obviously everyone wanted the rights between Hunt and Lauda.
yeah.
Bernie Eccleston sold the rights for $1 million to the teams, and basically he made this like if the TV companies wanted the rights to show the Grand Prix, he said fine, you can have it, but you must show every race.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how now you see
Because
F1
that
like
in
always balanced.
1984 was the Olympic year, and
Yeah,
what I remember because Carl Lewis was like champion. Daley Thompson won as well. Torvald and Dean won that year. So that year's
yeah,
BBC Sports Personality of the Year, they had a feature on Nelson Piquet because he'd won the championship. Yeah, so I do recall this as a child. You know, this is my first real recognition of Formula One at the time. You know, coming on our screens.
yeah. And that's the thing, and that's why F1's been uh, that's why F1's been back. It's been on. It's been
Thank
on
you,
ever
Bernie.
since. Yeah, thank you,
Thanks.
Bernie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you not been back on? I was back on a member stream, mate. I was back on a member stream a while ago. Uh, if they want me to come, look, if they want me to come on, I'm more than happy to come on. But um, like yeah, so but I've heard that like they've always got my support, but like yeah, I was on a member stream a while ago, so it was still there. So if we want to link up again during the season, I'm sure we will do. So, but thanks for tuning in, mate. Really appreciate it. So obviously 84, 85, 86. It's more struggling with Brabham. Brabham didn't really sort of fell backwards from 93 onwards, 83 onwards. Meaning that in the end he decided to leave Williams in 1985 and not Brabham in 1985 and Jordan Williams for the new 1986 season. 1986 would be
As a
like
two-time champion by this point, then.
yeah, as a double world
So
champion
one of the most
and
properties in F1 at this point.
yeah, and with Nigel Mansell, it became one of the fiercest rivalries.
Yes.
Like obviously everyone remembers 1986 for the last race. Like 1986 was the last
Went down to the wire.
race where Prost, Piquet,
Lancer.
Mansell, I swear there's another one, is there?
Cross's co-driver, was it?
No, was there another one? There was another one where three of them could have gone in. No, I think it was just the three of them. So yeah, I think it was just the three of them. But yeah, Piquet left Adelaide following the Austrian Grand Prix, fuming at the Williams team that they had not honoured the contract and allowed Mansell to win races instead of ordering him to let the Brazilian buy. Had Mansell let Piquet pass to take some extra wins, Piquet could have easily won the championship. Instead, the two of them being beaten by Prost in what was an inferior car. Right. Ironically, this was is the season. In this season, Piquet have won more races, the total of 4, than he would in any of his championship winning campaigns.
Oh wow!
Because it
So
all came down to
credit
that
to
last
Cross then.
race. Because in the end, I think it was in the end. I think who was it in the end? It was Mansell had a blowout with his tyre, which cost him the championship. Then to eliminate the risk of it happening to Piquet,
Yeah.
they pitted him to eliminate the risk.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, pitting him meant it put him in a position that was behind, too far down from
Cross.
Prost to be able to win the championship and stop winning it. So what could you do?
So title number 3 was buried. 86. We're at 86 now, aren't we?
So he had to wait till next season for his title number 3.
So it seems
So
like
until
this
87.
Williams, was it Williams he's in now in 86?
Yeah.
So this
86 he was.
So then you just said that was a better car. You said Prost's car was inferior to.
Yeah.
So Williams, so he's at this
That car
stage of
was
his
a
career,
beast. It
he's
was
definitely one of the top drivers and getting picked for the top team.
that FW11 was like that was deadly as a car. Power, qualifying spec, the power that the car could produce was 1,200 plus horsepower.
Put that into perspective for me. What is today's car? What sort of horsepower are they
In
pushing?
today's car, it's about 900 to 1,000.
Okay, so this is out of the world.
Yeah,
Noisy.
this is like this thing wanted to literally put you in a wall.
Yeah, yeah,
it was deadly.
yeah.
Like hardly like not a lot of downforce on it. It was
Wow.
It was mad. The power was insane. Piquet, as Mansell would put it, it was like as the turbo kicked in, it was like a punch to your face. It was just
Wow. That's
boom.
G-force.
Piquet had made amends in 1987 though, using political manoeuvring and technical skill to gain the upper hand. He was also a very good testing and development driver. Was able to develop the Williams car further to make it more competitive. At times during the season, the rift between himself and Mansell was evident, as Mansell showing superior speed in qualifying and in races. Piquet had also admitted to not ever being quite right after his qualifying crash for round 2 at Imola.
Mm-hmm.
He was ordered by FISA's medical chief, Sid Watkins, who was the guy who's made health and safety in Formula One what it is, not to race due to concussion he suffered when his Williams hit the wall at high speed at the Tamburello curve. He was offered by RAY, I don't know what it is, to join Paul Tranieri and Clay Legazzoni to comment after the race. Right, that was during his. It became obvious that continued development of the FW11 meant that it was clearly the best car that year. The 1987 championship was going to be disputed between Mansell and Piquet. Piquet emerged as the champion. From Detroit to Portugal, he never finished off the podium, racking up points in what he would call his percentage driving policy, which gained him another championship. Piquet announced during the practice of the 1987 Grand Prix that he had signed for Lotus as the undisputed number 1 driver, a position he claimed at Williams from 1986, but was never honoured by Frank Williams' car. Honoured following Frank Williams' car crash. It was also believed this was a big factor in Honda dropping Williams and moving to McLaren for 1988, despite another year left in the contract. The Japanese company, who had paid most of Piquet's salary, considered him to be the number 1 and were privately fuming that Williams management didn't rein in Mansell and allow Piquet an easier time.
Mm.
Maybe if they did help Piquet more, right? We could have been talking about Williams dominating the '88 championship.
For sure.
You know,
If we're like coming to the end of the 80s, and already I was going to put a question to you. Already thinking, is Piquet the driver of the 80s?
No.
Who would you say is a driver? Well, is it Alan Prost
Senna.
of the 80s?
Yeah.
He won his titles in the 90s, didn't he? 88.
He won in '88.
That's one title compared to 3 by Piquet.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, but it's some of his drives even in '88. It was just. This is why Piquet was not
throughout the whole decade, though. You got Piquet '83. He's won the title. Prost, Piquet, and Senna drivers of the decade.
Oh yeah, of their time. But I'd say Prost. Prost. If you're going to say the '80s specifically, Prost. Then if you're going to say '90s, is Ayrton Senna.
Okay.
But then you can't really say that because you've got Michael Schumacher there as well. But
yeah, it makes it a crossover, isn't it?
This is why I say like you've got to include the both of them.
Yeah, fair. No, that's a fair point.
So, it's always the top 3 is always. Sorry, because the top 3 has always been. It's always been now. The top 3 is now. Schumacher. It's between. It's not. This is in no order. This is between Schumacher, Senna, and Hamilton.
Yeah,
that's the top 3 at the minute. They're in no level.
What about the Italian guy who won in the 50s or 60s? What's his name?
Fangio.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Fangio as well. But compared, I think
the modern
Schumacher and Senna was better.
Okay.
And even Hamilton was, I think, was better. But the thing is, it's so much a different time. But
can I ask you something? We're talking about Brazilian drivers, and the only ones I know is.
And by the way, by the way, Fangio was he was Fangio was Argentinian.
But a lot of them transfer over, have an Italian grandmother and passport.
yeah, it was a bit, but he was Argentinian and
okay.
The only Argentinian.
Just quickly, I was going to ask you, Steve. So the main drivers I know, Brazilian, is obviously Senna, Piquet, and Massa. So because Formula One is like a rich man's sport, as we've seen.
Barrichello.
Oh yeah, Rubens Barrichello as well. So how come? What's the setup in Brazil since the 80s or something that they?
Well, they have their own level of karting, but then like to sort of pursue your career, you have to sort of fly to Europe.
Right. So most of these guys that you're referring to,
most of them have flown to Europe to continue their career. Senna
so they have to be quite wealthy, come from wealthy families, sponsorship or something.
Yeah, I'd say so. They had to have a certain living. I mean,
there's obviously some talent out there.
Yeah, but it's been difficult to find any talents since. He did have his. To be fair, he did have his teammate. Did have his son. Son. Though he was born in West Germany, he's known as he flies under the Brazilian flag.
Yeah.
But he Nelson Piquet Jr. was in Formula One for a while, I believe. He was. I do remember him being in there. Yeah, he was in there. He was in there for 2008, and then after 2009 Hungarian Grand Prix, he was chucked out of Renault.
Do we know why?
2000. What happened with his son?
Yeah.
Is that's the 70s. That's the 70s, mate. Big up, panel. Big up, Mel. Right, hope you're well. Right, big up as always. Yeah.
By the way, I watched Melina do a Arsenal Chelsea review show the other day. It's brilliant. In the space of like 10 minutes, she's got
to let us know when she's doing that, and then I'll tune in and I'll come on for.
Hey,
you got to let me know when you're doing that, man. I'll tune in.
It was just like a review, post-match review. Yeah, just like detailed, really good.
She was, yeah.
I went and watched the game afterwards based on that. I just saw a little bit of highlights, but I went and watched like the 10, 15-minute highlights. just to break it down. She's got it down to a T, you know. So big up Mel.
Yeah, definitely big up. I said big up, Monzi. What are you on about? But yeah,
Big up
obviously
Muncie.
when he got to F1, sorry, the first night race at Singapore,
Yeah.
it was fixed, and he was involved. The first ever night race at Singapore was fixed.
Explain how it was fixed.
Basically, what happened was because Alonso got knocked out in quali 2, they fueled him up for a quick free stop, pitted him before Nelson Piquet crashed into the wall. Alonso was at Renault at the time. Nelson Piquet was his teammate, so he pitted. Alonso pitted. Then at the right lap, at the precise lap after he pitted, Nelson Piquet put it in the wall. And because he put it in the wall right at the time people were going to be making their pit stops, it meant a load of drivers at the front had to pit while the safety car was out, and the pit lane was closed. This is the key thing. So once the pit lane was closed, right, and they had to pit during whilst the pit lane was closed, it meant they had to get a penalty because of the fact they've done that. So them, along with gaining other positions from other drivers, it meant that he managed to get to the front of the grid and win the race.
So it was fixed because he went intentionally into the wall then?
Yeah, well, the team told him to.
Sort of like what you were.
That's why Flavio.
Bottas of doing at the weekend.
Yeah, but that's why Flavio Briatore, who helped Schumacher win 2 of his titles with Benetton, has been banned from F1 for life. Pat Simmons was suspended for 3 years.
So they got evidence to prove that these guys.
Because they were told that Briatore knew about the plan.
Yeah.
So it was just disgusting. Disgusting how they did it. But there you go. Yeah.
People are always looking for edge, aren't they? It's just in all sports.
There's no need though. There's no need. Wait, let's check that. Yeah, it's still working. There's no need though. I don't get it. Why?
I think
just being an arse.
This is the cost of winning, is it? Winning means everything to. This is why people look at Lance Armstrong. Look at all the Olympics going on at the moment. All these athletes are going to be banned.
Yeah, I know.
It's the risk you take, and you have to cross the line.
I know. This is why people have a look at performance. This is why when I sit there and I say Hamilton's better than Senna and Schumacher, because he's never been dirty in his life. This is why I couldn't stand Red Bull, what they were doing at Hungary.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to tarnish him with the same brush and then go, it's nothing personal. Bullshit.
I think with longevity in time, everything comes clear, doesn't it? You know, you can look back, say now, you just made a huge quote.
And I'll sit here and say,
Hamilton's if you never think been dirty.
Like I said, if you think Hamilton's one of the dirtiest drivers in F1, and you think he's tried to do that deliberately, right? And he to match Verstappen, you should stop watching the sport because you know fuck all.
Yeah.
Simple. You know absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Right? Anyone that does YouTube videos on them, anyone that does watch-alongs, I know bloody one person that's bloody doing watch-alongs on them right now. And if you're going to sit there and say, mate, on Twitter, and you're going to sit there and say on your YouTube channel, right, that Hamilton tried to kill him on purpose, stop watching it. Because you know nothing. You haven't got a clue. You haven't got the first idea.
I don't think it's worth reacting to comments like that, especially when it's ridiculous as saying someone.
And then also, like you could sort of discriminate against him, calling him a gremlin.
I don't know. I think maybe because people know that you are passionate about it.
Yeah, but hang on. But that's the thing. This guy's my idol, right? Now usually
not the commentator. Not the guy commentating.
Not the guy. No. Hamilton's my idol, right? Right. So, like, you're saying things like that. That's gonna really piss me off.
Yeah, but the thing is not to get react, because if you're saying clearly on your show, I get peed off by
And then it sounds
comments like that. That means some
no,
people
you say
in
those.
the industry.
Hang on, but a second, Muddy. You say that sort of comments, and then what's funny is, right? And here's the funny thing, right? I won't say it was funny. It's not really funny anyway. But
funny, weird.
Then afterwards, when every other team was coming out about the racial abuse he got after that Grand Prix, what this was also, he was also saying it's why he was getting racially abused that during the Grand Prix. At the end of the Grand Prix, when we all see the abuse, and then everyone puts out a statement, like the FIA, Mercedes, Red Bull even put a statement out straight after the Grand Prix, despite their anger, obviously. He never retweets it. There's never a tweet of condemning it, and yet you're supposed to act as like, oh yeah, we're always going to call racism out, but when we see it. Really?
I think, you know what? I think it's down to it's all sport and it's competitive.
I know, but
as long as we keep it sport, everything else.
It's one of those. If you're gonna accuse people of this, that, and all the other, especially when you got to accuse people of being racist as well. When someone is actually being abused, right, after an F1 Grand Prix, right, surely you should call it out. Or maybe you're saying comments like that. Maybe that's actually like sort of revealing some of your actual true thoughts.
Well, so to lead people to it, I mean, there's no point reacting or giving people the time of day, that sort of thing.
The one thing is that I'll still call it out. I have done. Still been checking it. Like I even checked Hamilton's Insta straight after the Hungarian Grand Prix, because he was still getting it after qualifying.
Yeah. I think the good thing about Lewis, he handles this all with grace.
Yeah, and this is
what really got me.
This is what's stupid is.
There was something he done recently was really like, but wow, that takes a lot. He was getting booed and he waved at the crowd and said something.
Yeah.
I can't remember what race it was. He said, "Thanks for the crowd. It's a fantastic crowd." Even if they're not supporting him, he showed a lot of
no, but he says it's like I don't. This thing does. It's like one of those that said, like, it doesn't matter if you throw negativity at me anyway. It's just gonna make me perform even better.
It's like
this is what people understand. If
Cristiano Ronaldo, he says,
and this is what
it makes it feel good because it says it shows I'm a good player.
But Muddy, this is what this guy doesn't understand as well. You can throw the abuse at Hamilton all you want. You're only gonna make him better, mate.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you should do to Hamilton, because he's going to be 10 times better as like a you.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's been born to do.
Just a question, like, so Nelson Piquet said, Nelson Piquet, he's won like 2 Brazilian Grand Prix before '86. I remember you saying. So he must have been like the hero, national hero back home. But his rivals, do you think his rivals in Brazil, when he was the #1 guy, do you think people like fighting for the championship would have got booed by the Brazilian crowd?
No.
So it's a different kind of different fans out there, isn't there? With a different kind of spirit. And
2008,
some people
Hamilton went there to win the title. In both 2008 and 2007, Hamilton went there to win the title, and the abuse he was getting from the fans.
This is Brazilian, predominantly Brazilian fans.
The abuse
because he was fighting for Massa, wasn't he? He was fighting for Massa for the title.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The abuse he got was insane. Big up Talk.
Yes, Talk.
Working.
It's this. The graphics are fantastic.
Yeah, this is only just a picture at the minute. Don't worry.
You know what? After your show from now on, you should have credits, and on your credits you should be saying graphics, fantastic graphics. Talk NU. Where's Stephen gone?
I don't know what happened there, man.
You left me on solo.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I don't know where that happened, but yeah, man, it's getting there. Right. Don't worry, Talk's working on something. Don't worry about it. But anyway, we're gonna have to leave it there because I'm gonna be jumping on to another stream in about 12 minutes.
So just quickly to sum it up, can I ask you a couple of questions about Nelson Piquet?
Go on.
So we said obviously I like to do things by decade. We're saying he's one of the top 3 drivers of the 1980s. You put Senna in there based on low performance cars, but outperforming them. And obviously, he won his championships in 88, 91, 93, I think, was it? So Senna's in there, and obviously Alain Prost, he was dominant in the 80s. But Nelson Piquet often gets overlooked because he's a second Brazilian now behind Senna, but he is obviously a fantastic driver, clearly, by winning these championships. And what surprised me most of all is that after 2-3 years in Formula One, he's won his first title. I don't know if that's something.
The thing is, he's over. No, but the thing is, he's overlooked because, and I'll put this because the reason he's overlooked is because Senna is not just of what he's done on the circuit; it's what he's done off the circuit in Brazil.
Yes.
He rose the flag, whereas Nelson Piquet didn't really rise the flag too much for Brazil.
Right.
Senna really did. He made sure people knew where he came from.
Yes.
And he wasn't afraid to hide it. And this was during the times where there was looting and God knows what. There was so much social distress with Brazil at the time in the late 80s. So, yeah.
Just so, what was his qualities as a driver? Just in summary, for Nelson Piquet. You said earlier he was able to adapt his car and
normal. Yeah, he was one of those. Yeah, the great champions that know how to work with the team and be able to develop the car to how they want.
Yes.
That was what Piquet was good at, but it wasn't to the level of what Senna could, to what
Max.
to what Senna could, to what Hamilton could, to what Schumacher could. Right? That's why Schumacher and Senna, that's why Senna would have won much more titles than he did. It's why Schumacher's won so many titles, and it's why Hamilton's dominated so long since 2014.
Are we seeing that with Max as well now, considering Perez is not even getting close to him? As you said, the car's designed for Max.
Yeah, but the team have focused it around him. The thing is, I need to see more. Okay, I need to see. The thing is with Red Bull, like they could pick a driver and form it around the driver. That's why Ricciardo left.
Yeah.
I need to see if he can go to another team, like Lewis has done, because Adrian Newey was with Lewis. Adrian Newey built that car originally in 2006, 2007, and it's just been a development from there.
Sure.
So they already had the baseline for that car. What I need to see is that if Max can then take that, win a championship with it, and then keep winning championships.
Okay.
Problem is, he's going to go into an era where you're not going to get that anymore because everyone's got the same budget. If you're lower down the field, you've got more wind tunnel time to develop. It's going to be much more level playing field, so it's going to be even harder to do. If you can do it during that, then you can say something. But that's why Max and Lewis are so determined to win this championship now.
Right.
Because Max doesn't know he's going to be at the front of the grid next season, nor does Lewis.
For sure. Just quickly, not Ayrton Senna, Nelson Piquet, for racers in the decade of 1980s, he would be
one of the greats. He's one of the greats. He's one of the greats.
Definitely be on a podium as the 1980s. As regards to one of the best Brazilian drivers of all time, would he win a podium?
No, look, Senna is not just the best Brazilian of all time. That's clear. He's one of the greats. I'm
talking Piquet. Piquet will be 80s on the podium, 80s drivers.
Piquet is one of the greatest. He's an F1 legend. He'll always be one of the greats. You don't win 3 titles and not be a greatest person. Sure. This is why when people have a go at Vettel all the time, yeah, it's nice to banter and all that, but you can't sit there and say Vettel is shit.
Yeah.
He would never have won 4 titles in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? If he was shit, right, he would have been like Pierre Gasly was at Red Bull.
Right.
When Alex Albon, when he moved to Red Bull, where he failed. He wasn't. He went to Mark Webber, who was not exactly a slouch himself. I was
just about to ask you about Webber.
And he beat him comfortably and put him in his place. So I'm sorry. Anyone that says that yeah, if it's like with all things. It's like when people say Vettel is completely shit, they don't know what they're talking about. But there you go. Yeah,
Well,
man. Working on help. You're
yes,
it's up
it's
to you,
all.
man. You got to start getting it looking like a studio and stuff because it's gonna look sick. But it'll be developed even further. Don't worry.
Some
But
really
we're gonna
good
leave it there.
information here tonight about Nelson
Yeah.
Piquet. One of my childhood, when I was growing up, that's one of those guys that I looked up to. He was the winning championships in the 80s, and I'm gonna go look him up again. Go on YouTube.
What I'm going to do,
have a
and
look at
what
his races.
now we've got a green screen working. I'm hoping now we can use OBS to produce a time and a scoreboard for so we can for the football. Hopefully,
Okay.
yeah. If not, we'll just work it out at some point during the season. But
Just quickly, Steve, what have you got planned for the season, opening of the season?
Oh, we got loads of things.
Scheduled,
We look, Brent. Obviously, Brent. People still want me to do the watch-alongs every game for the every Arsenal game. There's probably other watch-alongs as well. So I'll be doing my watch-alongs. I will be doing previews and reviews as always, match reactions.
Yep.
I will also be doing usual separate shows, but it's still gonna be as busy as ever.
Are you still going to be doing some good European nights this year?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I take that back.
No, I'll still be doing
just
that.
domestics.
Mate, look, I'll definitely be following Man United when they were live.
All right,
to try and save a penalty. Let alone fucking score one.
4 months now, man. You're still getting it.
You mentioned it. You mentioned it.
I didn't know you clapped me back like that. God damn.
Mate, I'll use anything. This is a desperate Arsenal fan, mate. I'll use anything against you. Right? I'll clap the little thing and use it. Mate.
I thought I crippled you with that one.
hang on a minute. I just want to bring. Just hang on. I'm just gonna sign this right now. Right, I just want to see this. Right. Look. The game was so bad you had to use Tom Heaton right against QPR.
Oh, good. Don't invite me back, you bastard. Oh, good. Stephen.
Right.
All right. Big up, man. Lovely show.
Of course, I'll change it.
Top jaw driver, for sure.
Yes, man, he was. But we'll be back. I don't know where we'll be doing another one of these, but if I find another one, I will do. I might do just to piss all the haters off during the summer. I'll do one for Hamilton.
One guy I'd like off. To Mark Webber. I'd like to hear about Mark Webber.
But
or Australia.
There's loads of champions though. You need to do if you're gonna do that, you've got to go through all the champions first.
Fair play.
That's why fair play. But the thing is like I will say this as well. I will say this with Hamilton as well. He's the only driver to win in every season, and that's under threat next season because we don't know if he's going to be at the front or not. But we'll have to wait and see. But I still think he will win a race at some point next season or something. Yeah. But anyway, we're going to have to leave it there. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that. We are 28 away from a 1.1k. So please do that now. It really does help. And join the membership as well. Please, if you can, join back on the membership. Join the membership if you can. Little as $1.99. It's cheaper than a fucking McDonald's, man. Right? And you get loads of perks. Right? The higher status you get, the better perks you get. Right? As soon as you've got enough perks and members of Featley Warrior members and above, we will be able to do your own like Q&A member streams, which would be great. So, and I'll try and chase up Children's Liver Disease again because they were supposed to give me something about merchandise, but I'll have to work that one out. But until then, everyone stay safe, stay well, and we are back at 8:30 with Arsenal Gossip Column and their preview to the new season. Until then, catch me over at the Guns All Corners on Football United TV. Take care. Bye-bye.